on the business page.
And so a live video should pop up whenever Keenan goes live, which is now.
We're live.
We're live.
Are they watching on YouTube?
Grandma, can you see it on YouTube?
It still says sending data, so I doubt they'll see it.
She can be.
Huh?
Can you hear them? No, she's watching.
Jesse,
Hi, Tamara.
is your phone muted?
No.
See you. But
Okay, Grandma, I'll stay on until it pops up. Can you see it on YouTube yet?
you'll stay on.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, everyone. What?
We are live on YouTube, so they
Okay.
should be able to see it.
Grandma, if you click, go back to YouTube, and you should see me now.
Yeah, I could see you.
So,
Click on that video. For everyone wondering, I'm trying to FaceTime my grandma so she can watch us.
I can't click it on.
Keenan maybe might have to guide her.
do you want me to help her?
I don't know.
I can help her.
Grandma, you could do it.
What?
She's like, what? I could do what?
She paused
Okay.
me, so she must be figuring it out.
Okay.
This is low on power. Low power.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Jessica.
Hi. I'll see you when you get here.
Okay. You can see me, Grandma, if you go on YouTube. You should be able to see me now.
Well, anyway, I'll see you and you could teach me again.
Okay. We tried.
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Bye, Lucy.
Bye. We tried.
That's all right.
We tried to get my grandma to watch. Okay. Can I switch out my phone?
Oh, I have a stand today.
Will that still work? Okay. Oh. Oh, maybe not. Bummer. I wanted my grandma to watch. Is someone here? Okay.
So you get,
Are we good?
we're good. We're live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Make Art Lettering. We're doing our live paint along, live letter along, which is once a month that we're here because I'm here in Missouri with the whole crew. So to introduce everyone, this is Jessie. I think they can hear you. Want to say
Oh, hi.
hi? I was like, you're mute.
I'm just like trying to be quiet.
Jesse's on mute.
Jessie's on mute, and this is Taylor,
Hi.
and she's part of our customer service team. And then we have Keenan.
I'm in the background.
You want to show your apron?
Oh, yeah. This is my live apron. I'm so proud. This is a great opportunity, too, for me to fix the other side camera.
Look at that great apron. Okay, you can do that. So we are going to be painting and lettering our first project of our summer box. I realize maybe some people might be able to see that.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I could give a top shot if you want.
Let's do that.
You're
so,
going to need to push it up farther.
Linda Gray is watching. She's one of my mom's friends and mine.
Oh.
I got really excited. Hi, Linda.
hi Linda Gray.
A little farther.
That's such a great name.
Mara says you're styling.
Styling. Thank you.
Is that how you say it? Is it Tamara or Tamara?
Oh.
No, I love it because she's part of the group and I didn't know how.
Great, Taylor.
Sorry.
No, you're probably right. Okay, I can see what I'm looking at. So this is the first project of our summer box. Can I actually show them really quickly? Yes. Well, actually, Keenan has. I'll just show it on here. So this is our summer box. Hopefully, everyone has gotten theirs by now.
I mean, I already switched back. So
Okay.
I can go back to-
Let me show it this way.
Yeah, that's great.
So this is our. Oh, you labeled yours.
I did.
How cute is that? So in our summer quarterly box, this quarter, if anyone's new here, we're learning all about lettering with the brushes. So the past quarter, we were learning about lettering with brush pens, And I thought, let's teach everyone something a little bit different. So we're doing lettering with the brushes. I can do an unboxing later. All good. That's the box. There's a lot in there, but I want to get going through painting it with everyone.
We're just all really excited about it.
So much excitement. Do you see that face that I made? Okay, so for this project, there are 2 different versions. In this, what I wanted to teach us is introduce everyone to the Aqua brush. So everyone, this is an Aqua brush.
Hello, Aqua brush.
And can I show yours actually? Yes. Or this is, so mine I've used before, so the bristles have been dyed because I've used, oh, yours is a brand new one.
You're gonna need it, there you go, farther up. Perfect. Well, that was really fun.
Just throw it off the table.
There are several ways to say it. Oh, she's talking about her name.
Oh, yeah.
I thought she was talking about the Aqua brush. Tamara. We're just gonna say, what'd you say?
What did I say, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
You said tomorrow.
It's tomorrow with a southern
accent. So these bristles, I Googled it because we were wondering what it was, and it's nylon. So these are synthetic sable. These are the Princeton brushes, and these ones are nylon. So the reason why, actually, do you mind grabbing me, sorry, a 6? Because I want to go over this, because I don't, yeah. So if any of you are from our watercolor group, you know that Sarah likes to use a round 2 and a round 6. So when looking at this, the reason why I didn't, for lettering, I typically don't use a round 6, even though it's a bigger brush, is that when looking at this, I don't even know if you can see this.
Put
Maybe
it in the middle of the left project, and I'll switch to the side camera.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Just a sec.
The live video ended.
No?
It did on my phone. For
There's
Facebook.
43 people watching on YouTube.
Yeah, mine just ended too.
You ended us.
Nope, we're still live.
Uh-huh.
Facebook is
So
not
I hit
receiving
start.
data from Restream, though.
Oh.
So Facebook can't watch right now.
It says go live to broadcast, and I went, well, yeah, no.
So Restream automatically sets it up,
Uh-huh.
and we're streaming to YouTube, but not Facebook. I'm looking at it right now at the dashboard.
So
what
there's
do we do
nothing you can do about it?
Nothing we can do about it.
Sorry, Facebook.
Oh.
It's okay.
Well, maybe
They can't
people will
even
know.
They can't even know what's wrong. If they
Can you do me a favor,
Yes.
especially as customer service? Can you just type in the comments on our Facebook page and just say, hey, if anyone was watching, switch over to YouTube.
Okay.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Restream failed us tonight.
What is that?
Has that ever happened with Sarah?
It's been delayed on YouTube before.
Yeah, but it's
by
never kicked you off
15 minutes,
Facebook.
but it's never kicked us off of
Okay.
Facebook.
Well,
Is there a way to like restart it?
I
or
might-
That's that.
I could end the live and then restart a live, but that'd be completely different videos.
that's
So not
okay.
really. It might just be a connectivity thing with purely just Facebook. which is what I
YouTube,
assume.
we're just going to wait 1 minute
That's fine.
because I feel like I'd be bummed if I was
That's
on
perfect, 'cause then
Facebook.
we can adjust your,
Tell me what to do.
okay, up and left.
That's my home, my,
Yep, the right side of the project. That one is sticking off the screen still just a skosh.
but this, you can still see this one.
Good. Yep, we can still see both.
I might sit. Is it cool if I sit closer to you?
Yeah, yeah. Taylor's fine.
Yeah, you can scoot
Oh,
closer
sorry, I
to me
didn't
then.
know
No, you're good. You're good. You're in the zone. Thank you for doing that.
Should I? Here, I'll comment as.
Bummer.
I'll just watch. Well, there's more people watching on YouTube now, so they may
Maybe
have
they did switch over. To
switched over.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna keep rolling then and going.
Because this will record on still.
Yeah. So
and
they'll
we
still
can-
see
we
it.
can-
Okay. So what I was saying was I'm not even gonna. Oh yeah, there's the other one. I'm still gonna use this one. You can see it a little bit better. So when you're looking at this, specifically, they're both bigger, but the reason why I like to use the Aqua brush, also I should mention this is a medium size Aqua brush, is that if you notice the tip of it, it's a lot pointier. Whereas this one, it's more rounded, or it's thicker. Yeah, this is, so even if you get it wet, it does have a more pointed tip. The problem is that in addition to not only it being not as pointy and blunt like you were saying, that's a great word, is if you notice specifically is that if you're looking at this is a lot taller. Can they see okay, Keenan?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a lot taller and this is shorter. So what happens is that if I were to paint with this.
You're saying the bristles are longer. For the
What did I
round
say
sticks.
again?
Taller.
Taller, yeah, longer.
It makes sense. I just wanted to
I was like, did I
use
say
a
the
different
wrong word?
vocabulary sometimes.
No,
I just want to add more words that might help.
You're awesome. Is if I were to paint with a 6, I didn't go through this in the tutorial, that's why I wanted to talk about this, is you can do it, it's just harder to control for me because sometimes it might flip awkwardly and do that. Whereas because this is shorter, I can control it. Oops, I needed a lot more. Yeah, these do suck up a lot of paint.
Oh, the nylon's more absorbent?
Yeah. I can control it a lot better. So it's not wrong if you want to try and use this. Just know that if it's more frustrating, that's the reason why. It's just your bristles are taller or longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason why. Like we were just mentioning, is the Aqua brush, you do have to use a lot more water than you might, or use a lot more ink than you might think, because it sucks it up a lot. So that's that quick lesson, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be learning how to blend 2 different ways. So I love this brush, not only because you can use it as a normal brush, but as you'll see, and I'll go through this, is that you can we're going to insert color into here. So I just wanted to game plan on what we're going to be doing. We're going to get started. Then I'll explain the other part. So,
Question.
yeah.
Oath?
Oh yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job. Okay, we're going to do the oath. Are we good? Okay. Whoa, comments look interesting here. Okay, everyone please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to be mindful
I promise to be
mindful
of the words that I say to myself
of
the words that I say to myself
and the words that I letter on paper.
and the words that I letter on paper.
And I promise to remember
And I promise to remember
that I am making something
that I'm making something
with my own 2 hands,
with my own 2 hands.
and that is something beautiful.
And
That is something beautiful.
I think I got it.
I think I got it.
Oh, you can repeat me. So the reason why we do that is just to remember, I wanted to incorporate the word mindful because that's what we're doing, is we're just being more mindful of not only the words we say, but what we're lettering on paper. This is, if you're used to watercolor, it might be a little bit more frustrating, and it's okay. We want to embrace that. And especially with we're learning something new, it's probably frustrating. I saw some people in our group got a little frustrated, but also pushed through it. So bravo to you guys, and I'm really, really excited that you guys are embracing this new experience. So before we actually paint, there's a couple things that you can do, and you guys can do this with me as you go through, is on your practice sheet. So if you don't have this, you can also go to our website at letsmakeart.com and download these if you want to letter along with us. Sorry. Oh, that was yours? No, you're good. Okay, so the first thing is that when you're doing this, this is you. Do you want to get your colors? I didn't even say the colors we're using. I'll say that in a second. You can squirt a little. You don't need very much.
Okay.
So when you're squirting it, you'll notice I just did a little size like that. You don't really need a lot. You and I can share. That works.
If you want to show your palette a little more, you need to put it to there you go.
Oh, I gave everyone yellow in your kit or in your box, and I said that on the step out. This is if you want to make green. So blue plus yellow equals green if you wanted to make your wreath green and not a different color. So.
They were wanting to know if you said this was medium.
Yes. Actually, can I show that? Can you show me my leather pouch? Grab my leather pouch. I can go over that. So what do I have here? There are, if we're gonna have some on our, oh, these are two of the same size.
Nice.
I don't know.
There's a pack that comes in 4, and ooh, they're all different colors. So there are 4 different sizes. So this is the large, this is the medium, that's the one that comes in our box. And then this is a thin. I don't know if it's called a thin or just a light one. And this is an interesting one that I've never used before. And it's just a thicker one. So I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't letter with this if you got the pack. It's just a flat one. So I guess it's like the version of the flat,
A quick inventory note. We did just get some of those in today.
Oh, heck yes.
So we
So
should
tomorrow.
Tomorrow we should be able to make those available.
That would be good for like flat wash big spaces.
Yeah, totally. That's a good one. So this, you can definitely letter with, and maybe I'll just do this really quickly. You can letter with any size if you get the pack of them. The reason why I chose the medium one for us is because you can get still a very thin and you can still get a very thick, as I've gone through. So maybe what you guys can do to get accustomed to it is if you want to pick up a little bit of your watercolor while I'm talking through this and just practice through the top of this sheet.
Do I wet my brush first or just put paint on?
Good question. I appreciate you asking. So with watercolor letter or liquid watercolors is you don't need a lot of water. It's pretty cool because I actually came from the world of pan watercolors, so I wasn't introduced to liquid watercolors until I met Sarah. So I'm used to pan where you need a lot of water. Whereas these are already liquid, so you kind of can experiment if you want, and maybe you try and see what happens if you don't use water. See how that feels to you, because it still actually works. If you add water, what I suggest for everyone to do is I would dip, I don't know if they can see this. I would dip and then get a little bit on. And if you ever feel like there's too much, so sometimes if you have too much water, it blooms, which is awesome for Sarah, but sometimes for that's when you have too much water. So it's kind of experimenting what you like. Okay. I'm sure other people had that question too. So you guys can practice. So practice doing, so what's happening is if you're looking at this sheet, there's a section for thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes. So when you're going thin on the up, go a light, thin stroke because your hand's going up, and just use the tip of it. So don't press very hard.
Oh, I think I want to press hard.
No, you're good.
Just a little thinner.
You're good. It's your chance to just play.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, perfect. So then on the opposite, when you're done with that, you can go thick on the down. So you're just going to press a little bit harder. And you can dictate. So if you notice, I'm pressing medium, and then I'm going to start to press a little bit harder. And it's amazing how thick of a stroke you can get from this simple stroke, or from the simple brush. Okay. So experiment with that.
I think you're planning on going over this later.
Yeah, the water.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that.
Okay, cool.
I can, if that's a question, since people are asking right now, I might as well go over it. I am going to show you guys.
Wanda says, I'm sorry for all the questions. I'm truly fascinated.
No, Wanda, you're good. This is your chance to ask questions.
Wanda, I can answer some questions too. Not about lettering or art, but I can answer questions.
You can. He now can. Okay, so what I did was in this larger one, I actually already had water in it. So for everyone who's wondering, Wanda's question, which is a great question and one that I've gotten asked before, is do you put water in your well? I think that's what this is called.
It is. Correct.
Not a swell, a well.
It's a swell well.
That is actually what these brushes are designed for. So that's why there's this open area. In the tutorial, if any of you watched the tutorial, I personally didn't do that, and I used the well for one of the blending techniques. So I actually inserted, which we're gonna do in a little bit, is I actually put ink in there. So, should we just go for that? Like, should we just do everything at once? I'm trying to figure out how to like game plan and go through. I don't know if you guys want to practice.
Listen, this is all you.
I have one sheet, so if I want to practice, I don't want to mess up the one that you gave me. So
You are a perfect candidate because we have so many paper. So much paper.
good. Okay.
So don't worry about messing anything up.
Okay. Good.
We have so much paper.
Right,
You can use my practice sheet and you can practice. So the beautiful thing is that this paper, this is on that thicker computer paper, so you can practice on here too if you want.
Oh, okay, cool.
So don't worry about, if any of you, what happened was she was worried she only had one piece of watercolor paper. You can practice on this paper. I don't want to do that for everyone else because that's the last technique. And the thing is that if you ever put watercolors in here, it's really hard to clean out. It will take us, we'll have to take a break and then go clean it out. So I'm not gonna, I'll show that at the end.
We don't have time for snack breaks.
Even though there's Carmelitas from Suzanne.
Oh, that's true.
But I will show you. So I had water already in here. Just note that this is a different size brush when I'm going through this. So if I pretended that my water cup wasn't here,
Oh, like if you're traveling.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a completely clean one. So this is just water, even though it's kind of tinted pink, it's just water. The reason why people do this is that, like Jesse was saying, if you're traveling and you don't have a water cup, maybe you're on a train, like Keenan was, you could have used this.
That's true.
And you don't have water. You can insert and you squeeze a little bit. So is that in an okay spot?
Yep, it's a good spot.
So if everyone saw that I squeezed and it went through, so it's going through this barrel and seeping into the brush and then squirting out. The problem, it's not a problem, the reason why I tend to not do that is because these are already so liquid that it actually doesn't need a lot of water. So like I was saying, if I were to just let her right away, it works perfectly fine. So if I want to create a lighter color, like with Sarah where she talks about value, then I would add more water. But if I just squeeze into here and I add more water, then it's automatically going to be a lot more watered down. And that wasn't too bad, but if I accidentally squeeze too much in, then I get bummed out. So that is why this exists. And so it was very handy if any of you have panned watercolors. I wish I had some. Oh, we have
You want me to grab it?
Are those for, it's okay, we're good. If you have pan watercolors, that's why this is good, is that you can just squeeze a little bit onto it and you pick up the watercolor. So for us, it's not really necessary, so I would rather have a cup next to me and control it. Wanted to let me know if that answers your question. So yes, you can do it, it's just not necessary. Alexandra, what are Carmelitas? Keenan can answer that.
So Carmelitas are what is it? It's like chocolate chips, brown sugar, caramel, oats, a little bit of joy, and a chunk of heaven. And it's put in a pan, and you bake it, and then you put it in the fridge once it cools down to room temperature. And those are Carmelitas.
And his wife makes them.
Yes, and they're so good. Helen says, Suzanne made Carmelitas, send me some.
Oh, Helen's from our customer service team, but she lives in Seattle. Rennie said hers leaks. So they do sometimes when you do have to obviously screw it on really tight, but you're right. Sometimes in these wells, just the way that they're made, it's not our fault, I promise, is that sometimes the ink will squirt out a little bit. I have noticed that too. Just clean it off a little bit. It's okay. My hands always have paint all over them, so join the club.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. You're already a part of the club. Okay, so if there's any other questions, Keenan, just holler.
I will.
Okay.
Big fan of hollering.
So as you are warming up, what I gave you guys is there's two different sections. So the first section, all the lettering is standing up straight and down, whereas on this section, all the lettering is angled. So it's personal preference. You can decide which one you like, and you can also just use this as a time to practice. What's happening is that if I'm gonna look specifically at these ones, oh, sorry. We're going to share. They don't need to see. I'm just practicing, so we don't need to see what color. So the dotted lines are the X height or the waistline. So that's where all the lowercase letters hit. So I've noticed with our group that helps some people to be able to see that instead of free-forming it. So what you can do is you can practice and think to yourself, what's happening is it's thin on the up and thick on the down, or strong on the down, as Keenan likes to say it.
Strong on the down.
So when my hand is going up, I'm going to make a thin line, and then when my hand's going down, I'm going to push, and my bristles are going to flare out, and then I come back to a tip. You can do it, yeah.
Do you use your hand or your wrist or your arm? Like, I feel like I'm still trying to figure out how you're doing it.
That's a great question. Okay, I want you to try that. I know you can do it.
That's on the L?
Yeah. You can trace over this if you feel more comfortable. So Jesse's question, which is a great question, is when you're doing this, am I using my fingers? Am I using my whole wrist? Am I using my entire arm? So it's actually, all I want you to think about is to be grounded and supported. So.
Oh, like in pottery.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I love that.
Okay.
I need to take a ceramic class. So I tend to stay grounded.
Okay.
The reason why is that I feel more supported, and I always make sure that my wrist is supported on the table. If you letter like this and you're kind of waving or levitating, it's harder to control. So I like to stay grounded, and then I use my fingers actually. So when I'm doing this is I'm going up and then down. So my hand's not moving. Nice. So just simply play with pressure then.
Like that.
Nicole,
Yeah.
Can you do that again on the more?
Yeah,
Or just move the paper left and down?
I'll do them more.
So they can see your wrist.
So thin on the up, thick on the down. Thin on the up, thick on the down. So if I'm grounded though, the thing is that as I'm doing this, for example, if I weren't to lift up my hand at all, I am cramping. So don't do that. But what I want you to do is stay grounded, do a couple, maybe do 2 strokes, lift up if you'd like, and then keep going. So if you need to move your hand, so you'll notice whenever I'm drawing, I sometimes lift up and just move my hand over ever so slightly. So I'm just moving it a little bit. I'm not doing this at all. I'm just kind of lifting up and then moving over. So you'll notice that my fingers stayed stationary. If you're from the watercolor group and you might be more accustomed to it, your natural inkling might be to go like this. And even if I'm doing this a long time, I cannot control myself. So instead, does it help to stay grounded?
Yeah.
If you're grounded, and then it allows you to think, okay, thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up. There's 1 stroke. There's another stroke. Because the other thing with lettering is that I want you to take it stroke by stroke instead of really quickly doing a W like that. Because I forgot about my thin on the up, then thick on the down.
Wanda has another question.
Yeah, go for it.
Turn my mic on. She said,
Nice.
next question, LOL. Do you squeeze it, parentheses, the brush, end parentheses, as you go, question mark?
No, so I switched out and I'm not using the one with water. And so mine is completely empty. So I'm not squeezing anything at all. I'm just simply dipping. Oh, I'm using the thin one. I'm just dipping.
She also asked what my favorite color was.
Oh, what's your answer?
I always give a
cute.
different answer. I'm torn.
Which one are you going to give? We can't see outside, so we can't see what the sun
Yeah,
looks like.
so right now I'm loving on the sunset orange, but I've always liked turquoise, and the blue is what I'm usually drawn to. So right now my fave color is sunset orange.
Oh, we went with that.
Yeah.
I have a
Emily says hi.
question. Hi, Emily.
Yeah, what's your question?
Okay, so I struggle with R's a lot, and I don't know why.
Fair.
Especially double R's. So how do you? Is it just a practice thing? I mean, see how it it's all like I feel like you can't tell those are R's. It just looks like loops with.
So it's less of what it feels like and more the way it looks that you're frustrated with.
Yes.
Okay. That's a,
See?
can I show her
Yeah.
them? Okay. That is I love that question. Okay. This looks so good though. Look at your thick and your thins.
You're worried about your R's?
But
I know. Okay. So I get what she's saying, and the reason why is because they look different. And this is the thing about lettering and why there's no exact formula is because this is different because the letter before it was an O, so you
Yeah.
started really high, whereas on this one, you can start the R low. So I just want to teach you guys that that's why that's happening. So this actually isn't wrong.
okay.
What you can be mindful of is when you have an OR connection is I like to add a loop. And so the reason why I add a loop and I come down, is this okay, Keenan?
Yes, it is.
I come down and then I come up to sort of mimic this right there.
Yeah, see, because that looks identical. So my O just needs to loop farther.
Yeah.
down. Okay.
So it's specifically just this, the entrance of your R.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have it, it's because if you're looking at things like a parallel road, this is like that, and then this is more like that.
Yeah.
So that's why your eye is tripping you out a little
Right.
bit. So yeah, does that make sense if you
Yes.
just add it? Because otherwise, I think these are beautiful and they look really great. So that's
Okay. Cool.
that's a good question.
Lucy says, "Hi Nicole, this is Grandma."
Oh, yay! Good job, Grandma.
Welcome, Lucy.
That's awesome. Okay, how are you doing?
I'm feeling like I'm
Yes.
getting it.
Good
right?
job.
This is like fun. It's like a
Your
different-
L's are like
yeah.
gorgeous.
I know. Can I show them? Okay. This is Jessie's, and she was nervous.
I
Can you
can
talk-
draw, but lettering is kind of intimidating because I just want to draw or like bring my mind what I think it should do instead of like concentrating on the up and down.
Yeah.
So just as an artist, I already feel intimidated. Like I'm gonna mess this up, and I'm an artist. I'm supposed to be good at that, so it makes it even harder. Like,
That's fair.
but yeah, now that if I just, it's almost like meditation. If I just think like I'm going up, light, down, like I have to say it to myself. Then
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like more comfortable. Does that make sense?
I love it. No, I'm really glad because this looks really good. And I was gonna say, you know what I also love is that you don't have to connect. She didn't connect her V to her E, and that looks great. So don't feel like you have to also connect everything. This is your own alphabet to do it. So good job.
Cool.
Good job. Okay. So you guys can keep going on with that. I'm just going to talk everyone through the way that I structured the angled ones. So like I was saying, these ones are all straight up and down, and these ones are angled or italic or leaning over.
Yes.
The lean. Lean with it. I was going to ask if you know what yada mean means.
Say it
Have
again.
Yada mean.
Yada mean. No, I
Does
don't know.
anyone know what that means? Sarah and I said it in the tutorial. It just means like, what do you mean? Yada mean.
Is it a different language?
Or is it
It's a
slang?
California. It's from like Bay Area music. If anyone, please tell me I'm not alone.
California is just a different country.
It's it's not slang. I guess it's slang. Okay, but the lean part of it is what's happening is that I'm making all my letters just a little bit slanted. So to help you with that, because it might not be your natural tendency, is follow these lines that are here. So what's happening, I'm just gonna dip in here. Let's switch up. I'm gonna write more. So my downstrokes especially are what are gonna follow and be parallel to these lines. So, for example, it's really slight, but even on an O, if I were to do an O straight up and down, it'd look like that, but I'm going to slant my O, so it's going to be like that a little bit. So here's the same, actually, it's another time to do it, is this OR connection on more. So like I was showing Taylor, is I'm gonna go down to come up to be able to create a parallel line to this stroke.
What do you mean you're gonna go down to go up? That
So-
sounds confusing.
Sorry, on the O, I went down. I'll do it one more time.
She went farther into the O.
So I'm going down, up. Yeah, so I went down on here to come
Oh,
up.
Okay.
Rather than if you don't have a loop and you go like this. It's not wrong, but
Makes sense.
for the Taylor, that's why she was saying her R felt a little bit off, is because it didn't have that, this part was parallel to this part.
That makes sense.
So it's personal preference, and the R is actually a letter. Since we have a couple R's in here, I can go over this if anyone has questions.
There is a question about the tip of the brush folding.
And someone said, no. Oh, yeah, did I mean?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
It's okay. Ignore me. What was the question?
how do you keep the tip of the brush from folding?
Okay. Which brush can you, or who was that?
The Aqua brush probably.
it's the-
Mine was kind of doing that too. Like,
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but I want to see.
Oh, that's so pretty.
thanks. If it'll do it. It only does it sometimes. Like maybe on the O. I think it's a pressure thing.
Yeah. Okay, so if that is folding, what's happening is it's going to require you again to be mindful and to realize, so notice when that's happening. So an example is if I'm going thin on the up, like on love, if I'm going thin on the up, if I push here, it folds and it does that. So I don't know if that's the specific letter. Maybe, was it Wanda who asked that?
No, it was Jess Weiss.
Jess Weiss, cool. Can you let me know what specific letter it was happening on so I can show you how to fix that? But this is just a great lesson to be able to talk about anyways. So what's happening is that on that one, I pushed too early, so I smushed into the brush. Whereas if I waited, so if I was thin on the up and I stayed on the tip the entire time until I'm here, and then I start to push, it doesn't force the brush to go against the bristles. Does that make sense? So if you push too early and it does that, has that ever happened?
Yeah.
So that's because you're pushing too early, so just wait a little bit longer to put the pressure.
Okay. She said it's the bottom of the M to the O.
M to the O. Okay.
It's short for Missouri.
Where are you from? Is she from there? Okay, from here. Forgot where I was for a second.
You're in Missouri.
I'm in Missouri. I'm in Missouri. Okay, so when you go thick on the down, thin on the up, thick on the down. So on this connection, so thin on the up, thick on the down, I think the folding might be happening here. I'm assuming it might actually not be folding and you just have a really thick bottom, and tell me if that's what's happening. But what happens is that if you ever notice sometimes you hear the term like soggy bottom. I've heard that before. It's just when you have your bottom is more heavier and you don't have this gradual thick and thin. What I'd like you to do is be more mindful of when you end this stroke is release a little bit earlier to come to the tip. So I'm going to go thin on the up, thick on the down, and then I'm going to get to the tip already to go thin on the up. Rather, if I was doing the same stroke and I even thought about it too late, it's just a little bit heavier at the bottom. So that's not bad, but if that's what's happening, the folding actually isn't happening. Can you tell me if the fold happens on your M to the O?
Okay,
Teaching
so-
me how to throw the football today, and I was releasing too early, and it got all wobbly. Sorry, Keenan was trying to teach me how to throw a football.
That's awesome.
I just clicked in my head. It was awesome.
Makes sense.
Okay, watch all of these letters.
S's,
Do it.
yes, yes.
So,
Can everyone else see? Can you come to the middle?
oh no, pressure.
Taylor's got this. Then on the up.
Okay, so it kind of folds at the top of the L.
You did that good though.
And then right there, see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, the S's are.
The S's are hard. Keep going.
See, I can't do it.
Can you? No, you're doing so good. No. Can you do the E one more time?
Yeah. So, is it still a
Move
two?
up a little bit and do it one more time.
Right there.
Okay. So that makes sense. So what's happening is when she's doing this E, she's going thin on the up, and then you're kind of stopping here. So then it creates that notch. So what might be happening, and I would suggest to try, is can you rotate your hand just a little bit? So from here, just kind of rotate a little bit up. So now try and go thin on the up, thick on the down.
Like that. Did I rotate the right way?
I didn't see what you did, but that looks beautiful. Whatever you did, do it again. So what's happening is what I was saying was if you come at such a harsh angle sometimes, is that notch happens just because you naturally come and you're doing this and then it's flat, so you're more on the belly of it and it stops there and then you do this motion. Rather, if you rotate just a little bit and I'm more on top, so I'm not straight up and down, but I'm kind of happy medium, you can do both movements.
Okay, I need more.
Oh,
Sorry.
you need your palette. Sorry. Was that you? But I want to go back to what Jess was saying. Did she say that that answered her question?
She has not said yay or nay yet.
Okay, Debbie. My mom grew up in Clayton. She calls us Missouri. Was Clayton here in Missouri?
I don't know where Clayton is.
Oh,
Okay.
Go
so
for
if
it.
I go up more,
yeah.
and then it kind of like notches here. I won't stop that time. See how it flicks right on the.
So this
just
is
me?
no. Also, I just noticed this. This is really slight. Can you notice? See how your brush is kind of going like that?
Yes.
So when you, and we weren't even painting for that long. That was like
Yeah.
5 minutes. Know that your bristles are malleable. So because if you do this so often, especially as if I push really hard, I completely flatten this. If you roll, you can get it back to a good tip. So I think I didn't realize, and I'm really glad I noticed that for you, is I subconsciously sometimes flip my brush.
Okay.
So if I notice that I ever have a weird notch like that, we can talk through more why that might be happening. But if you ever notice that, just flip a little bit and then you'll reshape it.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's nothing
It
that,
doesn't look bad.
that's the thing is that it's like super, this gets into, I mean, because Taylor's with me, I can kind of coach her through it. It's not something that's actually that you need to fix. Like, you need to change the way you do it. Because the reality is that things are going to happen, and lettering, you can be more, I want this to look a certain way and I want this to look perfect. But we also want to, here at Let's Make Art especially, just embrace these little notches that happen. So there's nothing wrong with that. To me, it's not that noticeable.
Yeah.
So I would keep going. But hopefully those little tips will help everyone.
Jess said, had a phone call, totally answered my question. I was having issues with L and O at the top. So I think you actually kind of answered that when Taylor asked her question.
Okay, awesome.
Because it's that same rotation.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And then Terry said, yes, that helped. I'm the one that asked about the M and O.
Okay.
So she also said she's left-handed, so everything is harder.
Perfect. Okay, Debbie said something that I wanted to address. So brush pens are hard and require more practice and control. Debbie, are you talking about brush pens or brushes? I'd like to know. They both are similar. Nicole makes it look so easy. I know. You can do it. I don't want that. I get self-conscious because I don't want that to discourage anyone from giving it a try. That's not what I was doing, Keenan. Keenan's making fun of me and thinking of it.
I'm making a face. It's fine.
You are also witnessing two people from our community, from our group, that are also just as intimidated. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I do want to say is you are going to have to put in the work. I obviously can't be there to pat you on the back every single time, but I hope you can feel that from me from this camera. But the thing that I've been saying, and when Keenan and I are filming tutorials, is that lettering is like, it's actually like a lot of different things.
Got really excited.
Heck yes! I'm so happy for you. No, you're good. You can watch all you want. So I was also thinking about it because I swim. And so I can watch my coach doing this all the time, but I can practice it so much. But when I'm actually in the water and doing the work is what I'm going to learn, and I'm going to grow from there. And then you can assess why did that feel off? Why am I not very good at that? And then move forward. But if you don't put your feet in the water, if you don't put your brush pen into the watercolors, you're never going to be able to grow. So I hope that you feel safe and supported here, that we want you to put your butt in. You can do it. Put your brush in. Okay, how are you guys feeling? Nice! Look at you!
It's okay, but like...
We're going
It's
to
fine.
just keep going on. No, you're good. How are you doing?
Okay,
What did you do really good on? Can we show
Oh
them?
no.
What?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. Yes! I love how you do you do this on purpose?
I don't know.
I like it.
that.
No, I like it.
I don't think I was aware of it. I was trying to focus on the thin and the thick rather than the shape of the letter, and just kind of go with how I usually write it, and that helped because when I'm thinking about how your letter looks and how I think I should make it, and the thin and the thick, it's too many things, and I start messing it up.
Yeah.
So sometimes I stop thinking about what the letter should look like and just go with what my handwriting would be, but just focus on the thin and thick. It helps. So
Good.
maybe that's why it didn't look like it.
You
But
did it there too, like the space. Isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The space? Yeah, I like that too.
I love that. And that's another thing, is that my letters are here more to just, if you get confused on what it's supposed to look like, but excuse me, it doesn't have to look exactly this way. And I'd rather you start with, and a good lesson that maybe you can do for anyone else who is going through what Jessie was saying, is maybe write it out once just in a pencil.
Ooh.
And see how you would naturally write it, and then kind of jump off of that. So that's another way that you can do it, if you want to figure out what your own style is.
Helen likes how your L and E are not connected.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, any other questions?
Are there specific brushes or lettering? Which do you let me start over. Are there specific brushes for lettering? Which do you actually prefer?
I do actually prefer the two that we included in the box, which is the round zero, because it's small, but you can get thin and you can get thick strokes. And I do really love the Aqua, and I like the medium one because you can get a variance, like I said in the beginning. These are two that I genuinely do really like. So this is the Princeton brand. They also have a green version, which is actually the student version, but that's what I tend to use as well. So just a round brush, but like I said in the beginning, is be careful and not to have some. If you go into any art store and you're just kind of looking around and want to experiment, if any of them have too long of a bristles, you most likely will get frustrated, because not only what we were saying about the bending, is it'll also flip, and it's going to be frustrating. So kind of find one. This is a great one, the round zero, is it's a happy medium, because I also have found some brushes that are round, but the bristles are too short. And so what happens is that you run out of ink so quickly. So that's also frustrating. So I do genuinely like these two. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Terry asked if the round zeros are back in stock, and I can say yes. They may not have been updated yet, though, so that can be changed tomorrow, too.
Keenan's inventory guy, too.
Yeah.
You're just getting hit with it.
I know. So sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You're good. Okay. So we are going to move on. This is a guideline. You don't have to follow it exactly. If you would like, you can follow it. In the tutorial, I went through and I showed how you can do an oval if you wanted to do that. And what I did was I showed if you have your circle and you actually wanted to make an oval, what I suggest doing is find the middles, and you're just going to add a kind of hump around it. And so I do the same thing on this side. So that's how you'd make an oval, rather than if you were to just draw a circle, it might be a little lopsided. So I would just ignore these if you wanted to do an oval. We're just going to do a circle for this one. Do you have? Okay, you're good. Okay, so what you can do is, this is your time to figure out your layout. So pretend this was a blank circle. So if you had this, you have all this space, and you can design it any way you want. So you can have your letters at an angle like that. You can stack them that I did. This is your time to play and experiment. There were some really great ones in our group that I saw too. But for this purposes, I'm going to show how to do it just each one on its own line. So you guys can do whatever you'd like as well. What I did was I decided to incorporate both. So you'll notice that love more is straight up and down and worry less is at an angle. And so this was, sometimes you can choose it based on you want to create emphasis. Like if you think about when you read copy from a newspaper or an article, some letters are bolded, some letters are angled, and that's to create emphasis or to get you to look at them a certain way. This was more, I just wanted to, for lesson purposes, to show you guys both. So it's personal preference on which you guys want to do.
But don't you think like worry less could be softer? Like you're saying love more, worry less. Italicized seems like it's like you're saying softer.
Yeah, that's true. Like worry less. Yeah, that's a great point. And maybe that was what went through my mind way back when I designed this. So you can also create, while I'm just talking about emphasis, is you can create emphasis also by color, or you make it a lot thicker and bolder, like I said. So there's all personal preference when you're laying this out. What I would like for you guys to do is use this time and use your pencil as your friend. Don't be afraid to, don't think it's cheating, don't think you're doing anything wrong. You can use your pencil to figure out and sketch out. So think about this as your time to do it. And if you do it once and you're like, that should be moved over a little bit, maybe you do it again and just erase it. But sketch out what you would like to do. I was like, are you okay? You didn't move when I said that. You're totally good.
There's a question about blending the color better so that it doesn't look so cut off. Are you going to go over blending in more detail later?
I'm going to go over blending once we lay out the quote. So good question. Keep asking. Okay, so what I did was, if I'm going to do worry less at an italic or slanted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help myself and I'm just going to draw myself some guidelines. And I'm going to get the quote right. If anyone watched the tutorial, I fudged this.
It's not required, really.
What's not required? To spell things right?
Correct quote? Oh, the spelling? Well,
oh,
it wasn't the spelling.
It wasn't
that was
the
wrong.
spelling.
It was just the order of the words.
Oh, I have it right here.
Perfect.
This is what I did. Did you know that?
Love more, less worry. I'm into it.
Thanks. Makes me feel better. I completely was just thinking about the lesson and I did the wrong quote. It's all good.
There's a lot of things to do at once.
So many things I'm thinking about. Okay, so I'm going to sketch myself out. So I saw someone in the group. Did you see this, Keenan, where someone said, well, it works out better because the Y doesn't hit into the R. Yeah. So that is the thing about lettering, is you don't know what letters you're dealing with. And so what I can teach you guys is that when I have the word less, I'll do my S's like this, is all of my waistline or my X height, like I said, hits there. So I actually have this negative space that I can fill. So I'm gonna move this over just a tad. So this is also why it's nice to do the quote in pencil first so that I can see. I didn't even move that over. It's all good. So I'm going to use my Y. So letters that descend, like the G and the J and the Y, descend and go below. So you can use that to your advantage. So naturally, I might draw a Y like that. And so it's actually, it doesn't hit this. But what I want to do is I want to use this negative space to my advantage and create a fun looped Y like that. So that's personal preference as well. But I love the Y because you can play with that. The other thing that you can experiment with is I haven't talked about this too much, is you think about the ending of a letter. So do you want to end your Y like that? Or do you want to curl it up? What goes through my brain that I want to talk you guys through is I tend to, in this situation, I'm going to choose to curl it up. And the reason why is it's not wrong if you did it a different way, so I don't want you to think that. lettering and designing in general, and I learned this because I went to school for graphic design, is guiding the eye to do certain things. So if I were to end it like that, is I'm kind of telling the eye to just end right here and to come off of the page, rather than my Y kind of guides it back into it. So it's personal preference for me. That's the way it feels more natural, is to guide my eye and to create a sphere kind of like that. But again, if you did it the other way, it's not wrong. The other thing that I want to mention while we're sketching out is it's really, really slight. And actually, these are two very good examples. So what I'm looking at is my L's specifically. So if you guys can see, these two L's, I didn't have any, I call it the tails, but it's the beginning of my L's. So I actually made these two very different tails or beginnings to it. But that's also something that you can decide. You have the power to design your own letters, and this is the most minor thing, is do you have tails? Do they start up? Do they curl down? Do you not have tails? It's personal preference. Which one do you like, Keenan?
I like that you did every other, like no tail on the L, tail on the N.
I'm a big fan of the tails just because
You like the tails?
it's like a nice flourish.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Learning what using what he's learning.
That's right. It's not a big deal.
So it is an opportunity to add a flourish, exactly like Keenan said. So you can have it curl a little bit. Maybe you decide that your M curls a little bit more and then your L curls like that as well, or you connect them somehow like that. I love that you said that, Keenan.
Thanks.
Please do, yeah. How you guys doing? Yes, look at that. Or can I show them this? I love how Jessie did this because she decided is actually to move, did you do this on purpose? Or? Okay. Is that she decided to have her less on this side, so then the Y sits right there, and she curled and flourished the end of her L to kind of create a little home. Good job, I love it. Okay.
I was just struggling getting those R's the same even when I'm drawing. I'm like, it's a hard.
No, that looks good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay that they're not like mirrored. I guess.
No. And it's actually better. So her question was, is it okay that my R's look a little bit off? I actually personally, and this is why we're lettering and not typing on a computer, is that they're supposed to have a little bit of imperfections and personal touch to it. So I think it's good. Okay. Was there, oh, the blending color. Okay. Hi, Raylene. Okay.
I'm struggling.
Tell me, what's going on?
I like.
What? That looks really good. Maybe you should just do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the lines intimidate me. So if I just do it, you know what I'm saying?
Let's do it. Let's get you a new piece of paper. So, look how awesome that is. She freehanded this. That's really interesting that the lines, everyone's
Isn't that,
so
like,
different.
Compare that to it. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, I still think this looks really good.
Minus.
But I really like the personality of this. And she, oh, we don't, where is it? Can they see that? I don't think they can see
Oh
that.
no. Do you want me to get it?
Look what she made.
I can take it off the wall.
It's fine. You know how to do it now. I can tell this is the Taylor's personal way of lettering, which is what I was just going to commend you on, which I really love. It's because you have these cool loops right here, like that one a little bit lower, and I like how you added a flourish there. So if that's the case, there you go.
Thank you.
Flip this over. You don't have, so if you want to use, you can either turn the light box on and then just be able to trace your circle
Oh, okay.
if you want that. Go for that. Okay. Keenan, is that plugged in?
No, your phone is.
Oh.
You can unplug mine. Oh, it's plugged into the,
It's plugged into the thing. Just a second.
I
you
can
don't need
just
it.
not. I can like hold it up and.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I can plug it in like 4 seconds.
Okay. That might be better. Okay.
Gotta go covert. No one move or do anything. Actually, you can move.
Okay. While we're waiting, I'm going to scroll through and ask some questions. Keep going.
Are you reading producer.
Yes.
Danison, hi.
Danison's here?
Danison!
Where? What?
Is yours, wait, go to the bottom. Hit
Oh. Hi, Danison. Okay.
Also,
was
I
it
didn't
that
say
asked
hi to Raylene, and I apologize. Hello, Raylene. And Danison.
Where was a question? Okay, Alexandra, can you do a capital A? I totally can while we're just waiting for.
Oh, also someone requested the evil K.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Do you want to come over here?
I can't do a K right now. I'm busy.
Keenan can do an awesome K. Also, I realized, if anyone's noticed, I haven't even dipped into my water. So that's what I was saying, was there's not a rule or ratio, and that's also why I don't put water in here, because I don't really even use it for my liquid ones. Okay. And A, there's a couple different ways to do a capital A, and it's personal preference. You can do a more traditional one, like that. You can do a bigger lowercase a. Let's see. I would love to see how some people in our group do it. Those are the typical ways that I tend to do A's. It's being mindful of, so if you do an A, you might think the natural tendency is to go thick and thick on the down. So if you do A's like that, what you can do is you can do a medium stroke, and then you can do a heavy stroke, just to create some variance. I sometimes do it where it's thin on the up and thick on the down, so that's why this has that variance. But I know sometimes people start from the top and then go down, down. So those are a few different ways. I'm gonna switch up colors. What was the other thing? Oh, the K. Okay, the K is a great one to talk about. And when you were doing this, what Keenan has realized is that when you're doing this, is you're gonna go thick on the down. And because you're doing this awkward motion, if you lift up your hand really slightly, you can come at that angle, and then you can still go thick on the down. That's what you realize, right, Keenan? Rather if...
Because it's kind of uncomfortable to write the K.
Because if you stick at this angle, I'm a little bit shaky and a little bit... Is that what you were meaning? Yeah.
And it looks like a lowercase K.
That was just, yeah, because I didn't make it.
But because you didn't transition.
Yeah. But a couple things that you can think about with the K is that this, if you're looking at this one, even though this is a thick down, I had a little bit of variance to it where I went thin and then thick and then thin. So instead of just going a straight thick down like that, I went thick on the down and then came thin on the up. Also, if you guys can see what's happening, is I had a little bit blue on my brush, and it's just really slightly blending into this, which is what we're gonna go over. But that was just a happy accident I just wanted to call out. So the K's you can decide. I tend to do K's and I add a loop and then come around. It's personal preference if you have that or you don't. So the little tip is just to rotate your hand a little bit. Also, I want to mention, if anyone is a lefty here, I tend to rotate my paper a little bit to the right, or I lean over a little bit. If you're left-handed, if you can try and rotate a little bit to the right. Did I say that wrong? Left, right. Rotate a little bit this way.
Yeah, you said it right.
And you're going thick on the down. Ooh, I like lefty with this. I'm still a little bit shaky, but it helps to rotate a little bit. I did an angled K, or a slanted one. But you can, that's what I would suggest if you're lefty. I know that if you're smudging, the beauty of the brush pens was that you probably didn't smudge as much. Heidi from our group is also left-handed, and we have one of our lives, the very first one we did was the Hello Around the World one. We went through a little bit of lefties in there, and I might have Heidi do some lefty practice with us so you guys can, if you're a lefty, you can be encouraged by it. I know it's possible, so don't be tripped up by that. Okay, how are we doing? I think we're gonna go for it if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah, you can go for it. I'll do it. It's good.
What are you doing over
No,
here?
I can't replicate that for some reason.
Wait.
Oh, I thought that's what you were doing with the
No,
white line.
I told her to
totally-
trace the circle.
Oh.
I'm dumb.
No, you're not dumb. Be kind to yourself.
Is it okay
Right.
if I go uppercase on the L?
100% okay.
I just want, since I got that space going on there, I felt like I had to have a.
I love that. Yes, you can. Okay, we're gonna go through blending now. So there are a few different ways to do this. One of them is happy accidents. It might just happen if you're mixing a couple different colors. The way to purposely do it is have the colors on your palette. I'm gonna start with, we haven't used this deep blue, so I'm gonna start with deep blue. Also, watercolor paper there's two different sides to it. They actually both work. Technically, the rougher side is what you should use, but I'm just gonna use the other side to not waste paper. Okay, so what you can do is if you have, are you okay if we mix colors?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in.
So I have a little bit of magenta right here, and this is my deep blue. So if I dip in here, and you can do it with me, if we dip into the deep blue, and this can just be practice. If you want, yeah, you can just practice. So if I start to do this, and then I dip just a little bit into my magenta, I'm not dipping the whole thing, I'm just dipping part of the tip. If I dip into it, and I'm gonna overlap over, so overlap a little bit over your last letter. I'm gonna overlap, and then I'm going to gradually continue to draw, is you will notice that it just picks up a little bit of it. And the reason why I overlap here is that I don't want you to stop and then start the next letter right at the hinge of it, because you'll be able to see it. So if you overlap it like this, it just naturally bleeds into it and you don't notice it as much. So that is one option. Another option is if you have, I'm gonna start again. So if I have my color here, and what I did was I realized if I start with blue, this is actually a different way that I didn't do in the tutorial. If you have blue on your brush and you pick up just a little bit, so I haven't lettered at all, I have both colors on here, is it will pick up actually whatever it wants. So it's more of a slight difference, whereas this one is a definitely, I can tell I went from blue and I mixed it. Let me do that again. Do you want to try? Or do
Yeah,
you-
I definitely lost my.
Did I take
I
this
don't
from
know.
you? I totally did, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that one more time. I have a lot of deep blue on here, and I have just a little bit. I know why. This, scratch that, I'm gonna do the opposite. I think that's why it's not as obvious for everyone. Is if I'm going to put a lot of magenta on here, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of my blue. There we go. It started off with, that looks really cool.
That looks so awesome.
Dang. So because this beginning of it, because I had the tip of it, had my deep blue, it was able to start it, and then it just gradually blended into my next color. So there's so many different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way. And it's actually fun to experiment because you never know what you're gonna get, and I think that's the reason why I love watercolors. So what I did here was I started with magenta, and then I dipped into the deep blue, which actually became purple. Because red plus blue equals purple.
Either way, it's awesome.
Okay, How is
lost
that for you guys?
transition, so I just
Oh, that's
kinda snuck
cool.
it back in, and I think it works.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. Can I show them? Look how cool that is. So you started with the magenta and then you dipped it in and then.
Yeah, and then I went back just to like help the transition along.
Fun.
Yeah?
Jaeger, yes.
Okay,
What? Look at this, Keenan.
Dang.
Keenan, notice me.
That blue is awesome.
Yeah. You had even more blue than I did. I love it. Okay. So those are a couple different ways. Do it, Keenan.
They're talking about the K.
There's a video of him in the
Is
group. Yeah, I posted it. Remember the
Oh,
one?
shoot, that's right.
Okay. So trying to think how to do this. So I'm just going to explain this to the girls so that they can decide what they want to do, and you can do this as well at home. There's one more technique to blending, and I promise to get to it. So Jesse and Taylor and everyone watching. So if you look at this is the technique that we just went over, where I started with one color and then kind of played with and dipped a little bit and then went to the next color.
From left to right.
Yeah, so I went from left to right, and you don't have to do that, but this is one option. So the other option, and the reason why these look different, even though it's the same exact colors, is that what I did was this was the technique of people are asking of putting magenta in here. So I had magenta, I'll show this for everyone. I'm gonna have magenta in here. And so you go from here and I dip in the deep blue, and then it just gradually will get to your original color, which was this. So the reason why I'm prefacing and letting you guys know is because what happens is that when you put it in here, like other people are saying, it's really hard to clean. So if you're okay with this look, then you can follow along with me. But if you want, and you can even, like in this one, I mixed it up, which is what I did in the tutorial, was I did this technique first, and then I did this entire half of my wreath, and then I put magenta in here, and I did this, and then I did this half of my wreath. So it's personal preference with what you guys want to do. So I'm gonna go through for everyone to see how I did this.
I think
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna try the other one.
Okay, do you wanna have this in front of you? Okay, so can I have a Canson paper? Just one paper.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah. So the paper that we're using is Canson, the XL brand. It's cold pressed, and so it has a little bit of texture. Our friend, the fly.
Okay, the smooth one is the one down.
There are actually 8 flies in here now.
8 you counted?
Well,
That is.
it's more than 6 and less than 10, so I'm assuming it's around 8. But there's some snacks over here that they're eating on, the cheese and stuff.
Fun. I hope people can see that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you guys how to use this. Open it up. Warning, you're gonna get paid on you. It's okay.
Warning, warning.
So if you have a brand new one like Taylor does, you might want to squeeze it a little bit. Sometimes they have weird air bubbles. I don't know if that's happening, but if you just squeeze a little bit, you'll get rid of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna insert my magenta. This is the Dandelion paint. And I love it because it's in a squeezable bottle. So I'm just gonna add some drops into it. So if you notice, sometimes if you do it and it might just sit there, you might have to kind of help it out a little bit.
Might hit it against the table too.
Yeah, that might help. So the reality is that you do not actually need that much. I'm just gonna add maybe 5 to 10 drops. So if everyone can see, I don't know what the best way to show people. It's just the bottom of it. So don't feel like you have to do the entire one. You will use all your watercolors, so don't feel like that.
Should I put more in?
That's good. If you always need more, you can add more, but that's a good amount. Okay. So, and then you're gonna put it back on, and I'm gonna, ooh, paint everywhere.
That's step 4.5.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna just clean this off so that you can really see what's happening. Also, when I clean brushes is try not to just jab into it. I like to roll and get the color off. Okay, so with my watercolor in here, I'm going to let gravity first do its thing, and then I'm going to have to help it out a little bit, and I'm going to squeeze and pump a few times. So it already happened.
Yeah, you can see it.
Could you see it?
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if you can see that on the camera though.
So what happened was it went through this barrel and it got to my brushes, and now it's already magenta. Whereas before it was blue and it was empty. Do you want to try that? Oh, can I
Yes.
do it? You do it.
Okay,
And
wait, so
do it on the camera.
So do I dip it? Is that what you
No,
did?
we're not dipping
Not
at all.
dipping it.
You're literally gonna
Squeeze it.
put it that way,
Okay.
squeeze it a little bit, and maybe they can see. I can't see your hand. Keenan can see. No, you're good.
Can you see? Keep
Squeeze it?
Keep squeezing.
Actually, tilt your hand towards your right. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
So.
Wait, is this
and
hand in the way now?
Yeah,
to
probably.
the opposite corner of you, towards Nicole. There you go, right there. And now.
Oh my
tilt
gosh,
it.
I don't have enough fingers.
It's coming. So much pressure.
Turn it.
You're
to the
doing
right.
it.
Turn it to the right.
That way?
Rotate your wrist. There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, just keep pressing.
You might need to.
Put more in?
No. Just go like that. Okay, now try. You might. I don't know. Maybe you do need a little bit more.
Oh, guys, it's not good.
I'm
like
putting
shaking
so
so
much
bad.
pressure on you. It's okay.
Well.
If this is happening to you, let's put in more for you.
This is
Okay.
good. So if this
It's
happens
as
to anyone,
good.
then they know what to do.
Or it's there you go. You just needed a little more.
Time.
You're good. So hopefully everyone could see that now it's naturally starting to come out. And now it's pink. For you, I might, you're okay. You might want to add just a few more drops
Okay.
in. But the whole thing is that it's just going through this barrel and then it's going onto the bristles. So when someone mentioned there's leaks, so sometimes it might leak if you're squeezing too much and it just leaks right there. Like I said, it's okay, just get rid of it. But maybe add a few more drops. So when you have this fully loaded, because maybe still haven't noticed how yours was a little bit like that
Yeah.
and mine had a little bit more. So yeah, just add a few more drops. Yeah. You don't need very much. Okay, so this is going to be a way that you can blend, and like I mentioned, this is the technique that I used to make this project. So if you want, my natural tendency was to get more water. You actually don't need to get a lot more water because it's already okay. Sarah goes over this in the watercolors. If I add more water to this, it's going to have just add a different texture and it's going to be lighter. So it's creating a different value. I want to have a very pigmented color, so I'm just not going to use any water. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to dip in, and I'm going to use the deep blue, is you're just going to dip in, and let's just do the tip again. Yeah, so go through the tip and then paint. And so you can see a little bit of the magenta right there. But what's going to happen is that over time, as I keep writing, it is going to naturally lose the original color that you dipped in. And it's going to go back to its original color, which was my magenta.
I think I put too much blue.
That's okay. And that's something good to know. Can I show them that? Ooh, but look.
Yeah, it is getting cool though.
And I love that. So hers, she probably just dipped in a little bit more and she had a lot more blue on it. So it just took a little bit more time to get back to it. But this is beautiful. And I love how natural and gradual that is. And it's fun to see. So you can already see the difference between
Yeah.
that blending one and this blending one.
That's cool.
Love it. Okay. So when you're doing your final one, you have a few options. You can either do it in pencil first and do that, or you can use, if you want to do this too, you can use the light box.
Okay.
So I usually like to use a light box. For time purposes, I'm just going to sketch this really quickly so we can see.
So if I got it the way I like it here, how do I transfer it to my paper? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The light box would do it?
Do you want to do, so, do you want to use the light box or can she use the light
She can
box?
use it.
We have
Okay.
2 light boxes.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, just
Okay.
don't do anything crazy and I'll find
So the reason why we're talking about light boxes so much is it's personal preference. So this is a light box and I've used it several times in other videos, but the beautiful thing, so in order to use the light box though, what I suggest is that Sharpie right there. So a light box is essentially just light shining through to your watercolor paper. So it's a little bit, you can kind of see it, but it's a little bit faint. So if anyone wants to do this and you, for example, love the way you designed it, I would go over this with a black Sharpie so then you can see through it. So you can go through that step. This is going to be you.
Excellent, thank you. I can do this and try the other technique while you guys are doing that.
Deal. So I'm just going to lightly sketch this out.
Oh, sorry.
If you also want, if it helps, you can draw yourself the same guideline that I did here where I drew a little bit of lines. Since they're using the light box, I'm going to freehand it. Just do that. Okay. Are there any questions? Can you answer this, Taylor? What would you, Addison asked, what would you say is the easiest watercolor tutorial?
I think we usually recommend the rainbow.
Elephant?
No, yes, rainbow
Really?
elephant. Yeah.
Oh, the rainbow elephant.
Because the splashes on it are like, you know.
I've been told that the Halloween cat is
Yeah, and that
also
one
very
too.
easy.
Yeah, and then I think there was one. I want to say it's like one of the sunset ones,
Oh, one that's like a big
Maybe.
Not
wash.
the waves one.
not the waves one.
Those are a few good ones for you to try out.
Yeah.
Also, Sarah has a beginner watercolor series that you can dive on into as well. That might help you.
I mean,
There's
we also have a beginner lettering
So
series.
there's also a beginner lettering series. That's all on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to go through and do this entire thing with this technique. So I laid mine out. They are doing, do you want a...
Will this work?
I think you might be able to see that through. They're getting theirs prepared because they're going to use a light box, so you have the opportunity to design it however you want. So I have my magenta ready and loaded. So I'm going to, because I want, when I'm looking at this, I want to have a lot more blue. So when I did it here, I just dipped about half of my brush. I'm going to now actually dip my entire brush into my, I'm using deep blue for this. And I'm going to talk to myself and say thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up. So even though, actually it's really interesting because even though I dipped into the deep blue, it already had blended apparently into the magenta, and that's why this is actually more purple than blue, which doesn't bother me at all. It's just a different way. So it's going to gradually start to create more of a pinkish purple, so more of a magenta. So when I'm doing this, I'm going stroke by stroke. So when I do my R, I'm actually going to end and go like that. So I did the exit stroke of the O was actually also the entrance stroke of my R. So I just took that in one stroke, and I can continue and do the rest of it. And when I am doing this, so this is just a lettering tip in general, this isn't even specific to this project, is if you think about the way you attack the letter. So I also say this in the beginner lettering series, is it's one of the tips I give, is if I were to draw and I'm attacking the letter at this, I'm drawing from below. I can't even do it, so I'm gonna show it on here. I'm coming at the letter and drawing it below. It is really hard for me to control, and I'm exaggerating. However, if I move my hand and I attack it from the side, I can control my strokes so much better. So it's the slightest difference, because you might not even notice it. Also, you might naturally, especially for some lefties, are overwriters, so they naturally come a little bit like that. So if that is you, I saw someone in our group is like that. If you're naturally an overwriter as a lefty, can you try and rotate just a little bit? So you're not changing, and I'm not asking you to become an underwriter, but if you rotate just a little bit and come more on top of the letter, you might be able to control a little bit easier than if you're like this and kind of at this angle. And I can't even paint like that. So that was just one tip. So thinking about how you attack the letter. So I'm gonna come a little bit from the side. I don't know if that was happening to you. So you can just go for it. And I know you can
Is
do
this
it.
the right blue that we started out with?
So yeah, so this is the Tahoe blue, so it's more of the turquoise, and this is the deeper blue, if you want a little bit more of that.
So I think I'm going to start out with blue and then go magenta to the right like that.
Yeah,
All right.
and then
I can make it happen.
you can do it. I'm gonna add a little bit more magenta for you. Okay, so I haven't had to change anything. I haven't had a dip. I'm just gonna keep going. And because it's really interesting, because I painted a little bit, so it already got to my magenta a little bit faster. So here's that double R that we did with Taylor. So I went down on my O to come up. Oops. Then on the up. Pick on the down, then on the up. So I remembered I have this negative space. So I'm going to, also another thing is that I'm going to tilt my paper a little bit more, because that helps me curve into that space. So I have less. I'm trying to think spatially wise. So now my less, I'm going to do my S's like that, my less is my original magenta color. So that's how it created that natural blend. So when you're going, actually I'll wait. Keep going. You're good. There's a lot to this lesson. Nice!
Oh, the pressure. It's like I don't
You-
start shaking until I.
I love it because, keep going.
Okay.
Can you see hers? We'll show it. She has so much more blue. You need to teach me your ways. Oh, I think you started with Tahoe blue, which is cool. I think that's what happened, because I don't have Tahoe blue in
Wait,
this
what
one.
blue did you use?
No, you're good. You use the more turquoisey blue, and then I use the more purpley blue, which makes sense why it's more purple. That's cool. I'll show everyone. Okay, are there any specific questions while we're waiting, Keenan, that I haven't answered?
Can you re-dip your brush? But that was a few minutes ago.
Now can I re-dip my brush? Yes.
Wanda.
In the water or just in general?
Wanda, we need you to redefine your question, please.
Because
Thank you.
the thing with re-dipping, and maybe I'll explain that. Heck yes. Let me finish my thought.
Yes to worrying less.
So I know this is already loaded, so I'm not gonna show my example with that one. If you are painting and you get to this point where it's kind of scratchy and you don't have a lot of color in it, that's when, if you're wondering do I need more water, that is when I would re-dip and get more water. However, when you re-dip, what I wouldn't do is I would re-dip, have a whole glob on here, and then go for it. So what I do and what Sarah teaches is just knock it off a little bit, or I tend to just scrape off a little bit, and then I go and dip. So that way I have a smoother connection like that. Not sure if that answered her question, but that was
I will let you know if she responds.
okay.
So I have a question. Since I did it this way,
Mm-hmm.
because the L is bugging me, so I can't go back and like adjust it, right? 'Cause
Tell me why
would-
it bugs you.
I feel like it's less flowy than everything else.
What?
Like it.
I said that really loud. Sorry. Are you laughing
Do
at
you
me?
not
L
see
is
it?
great.
I think it's beautiful. I'm trying to genuinely see what you are seeing. Let's ask the community. Can you see what she's talking about? So you're saying the L is less flowy.
Which
I
L?
think it might be
This one?
The top one, yeah. I think it might be the loops. I don't know. I just don't like it. Everything else I like, but
Well, there is no way to fix that, like you said, but there's actually nothing to fix. So my favorite, it's so funny because my favorite part of this is the L, but I think it's because it's blue.
yeah. I'll just,
So
Dig in the blue L.
yeah, so my eye doesn't even see what you're seeing. So if any of you at home also are having this thing where you're like, I don't like that one letter, show it to someone and challenge them and ask them and see if they see what you see. Because I don't see that. And the only thing that might be bugging you, and you can tell me if this is it, is, which isn't even actually so, I'm debating in my head if I tell you.
tell me.
Don't do it.
Do it.
I'll read a comment instead.
Okay.
Tam B from MN says, I love it. It looks like a progression of looseness.
See?
Look at
It's
wait.
less loose on top.
Oh.
No, it's okay. I'm going to worry less about it.
Dannison says, I don't like it either. I love it.
Oh, I was like, wait a second. Wrong thing to say.
Oh,
just not gonna worry about
Wanda said, yep, sorry, I meant redip in the watercolor.
You're switching on me.
I
My
know,
brain
I
wasn't in that
totally
for a
switched.
second.
Threw a curveball at you.
Hold on a second. Sorry. My brain was
Sorry,
thinking
we'll go
about
back
hers.
to the L.
And then I'll answer that.
And that's it.
I think the reason why is because this bottom L is looser because you have more
Yeah.
negative space right here. But actually, I think that's why I like it. And when I'm looking at this,
Tam B said,
I want you to be
it
proud of this.
speaks.
It
Which
speaks. What does that
I
mean?
think because it gets looser as it goes on and like worry less, you know? Like Yeah.
Yeah,
nailed it.
Tammy. I like you.
Okay. I'm happy with it. It's fine.
I love it so much. And if you guys look at this, do you notice how the bottom of her M, so this is cool. I don't know if you even knew this or if you did that on purpose, but some of your letters are what we call bounce lettering where it comes a little bit lower.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it and it looks really awesome. So that's just a style preference that she has and it adds some personality. Good job.
Thanks, friend.
Is this like a secret audition that she's trying to take your job?
Oh my gosh. You weren't supposed to say
No, she's supposed to
anything.
join me.
Oh, join, yeah.
No, I'm so proud of you. Okay. What was the other thing that you...
The dipping, right?
Okay, what was the original question?
Redip. She wanted you to redip.
Wanda
It is-
said, yep, sorry, I meant redip in the watercolor, but then she said, and yes, it did.
Okay, cool. So I answered your question.
I
I,
think
didn't
you
realize
answered
what
her
it did.
question.
Okay, cool. We're going to keep going.
Thank you, Wanda.
It is already 8:48. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
We have a lot going on. Yes!
That's cool.
it's like really wet right there.
It's
so
okay.
hopefully-
Okay,
what's
I'll
your
be
loop?
gentle.
Here,
I'll be
never
very
mind.
gentle. Yeah, what?
I've never done that.
I love it.
How do you feel?
I felt really
How
good.
do you feel?
So good. I can't believe I did that. I did that. I mean, I'm proud of it. I've never done that before.
I'm so proud. Also, you added this cool loop right
Yeah,
there.
I got a little crazy, but I like
Is that
the
what you were
rest of it.
talking about?
Yeah,
I like the
yeah, and
loop.
the V and what? Sorry, I interrupted you.
What? I'm not
So she
interrupting.
did the original technique that I was showing where she started with one color and then slowly, gradually picked up the next color.
Yeah, and the transition wasn't smooth as I thought, so it kind of went back over. I don't know if that's cheating, but
No, it's not
just
cheating
kinda
at all.
went with it.
But look at how cool, yeah, that naturally blended right there and even right there. This looks awesome. I love seeing everyone's different versions of it. Can I show this again? So you guys can see everyone's also different personality of their letters.
Oh, I love how this
all good.
looks right there. That's so
Thanks.
cool.
What part were you saying?
I love how that feels, like that connection right there, how it kind of goes above the X height and then it drops back down to the other. So that's cool.
Good job, guys. Okay, I'm gonna do this fast, but we all can after take your time. So don't feel like you have to rush with me. When we are doing the wreath, you have the creative freedom to design it however you want. I'm going to show you what I did was all my leaves, it's more of an illustrated style, so they're not filled in. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to I still have my magenta in here. I'm gonna mix it up and I'm gonna do what you did and add Tahoe blue instead. So it's gonna have a little bit of different color. So what's happening is I'm going to go thin on the up, and you also don't have to do this, but this is what I'm talking myself through, is I'm gonna go thin on the up for the stroke, and then I'm gonna come down, or the vine, and I'm gonna come down and create it like that. So you can decide how thick your leaves are.
It's kind of like an L, but just going on there.
Yeah. So what you're essentially doing is you're just playing, and this is great practice for figuring out the different pressures that you can create with your brush. So if I just didn't press as hard, it would create a medium size, so I can experiment with that. So what I'm doing is you don't have to connect all your vines, so maybe that starts like that, and it goes like that. Or they do connect, and you can have some that are small like that. You can mix it up. And I'm actually not going to, and I'm just going to continue doing this, and I'm not going to re-dip any color. This is my style preference. If I wanted to have all my leaves be this blue color, then I would re-dip. However, for right now, I want to just show you how if I keep going, it will naturally get back to my original color, which was magenta. So again, I'm going to go thin, and then I'm going to go thick. And you also can play with, maybe you add some curves to your leaves like that.
Oh.
So they have a little wiggle or wave to them. Did you laugh at my wiggle?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you wiggle your body while you were talking about that?
Yeah. And so when you're thinking about this, is you can either create, this one is a teardrop type of shape, and then this one is more of an almond shape. So you can play with what you'd like. Also, if you want to add a little bit of
You're
wine,
doing leaves on either
like
side
that
of the
inside.
circle, right? Inside, outside.
Yeah, that was great. I was going to mention that. So it is personal preference as far as how you want to design your wreath. What I tend to do is I use my baseline, or whatever you want to call it, is you use my pencil sketch as my middle, and I tend to actually stay on that line, and then I come off on the right or the left side of it. So yes, I kind of stay, but then I do a letter or a leaf on both sides. Yeah, thank you. What you can think about is, when you're looking at this, is once you do this a few times, actually, I'm thinking through this. I'm gonna keep going, and what I was thinking through is if I should fill in some space, but I'm gonna fill some space at the end if I feel like there's any empty space, because I love the gradual color change that I'm getting. And for me, you're noticing that I like to rotate my paper because it's easier for me to do that. If it makes you feel better knowing what you're drawing and doing that, you can 100% illustrate like that. That's more of a style personal preference. I also saw some people in the group, and you made me think of that, is some people had some really fun curls. And maybe I add a curl right here.
Yeah, I just figured since I did that in my lettering,
I love
could go
that.
with it.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep going. Danison. Almonds. I love almonds.
Gotta love all the curves.
What? What'd you say?
Kelly said, gotta love all the curves.
So many curve shapes. Also, what you can think about is the varying up the sizing of it. So there was someone in our group, I don't know who it was, had the most perfect, did you see this, Keenan? The most perfect leaves where it looked like a stamp. All of her leaves were the same exact size. It was beautiful. So that is one option that you can do where you can make them all the same size. I think that would make me very frustrated because I'd get mad at myself if I messed up once. So many kudos. I will look and I'm going to comment on it because I saw it. But if you want to help yourself out and be okay with different sizes, is that you can experiment and you make one really big and maybe the next one next to it is just a little bit smaller. Maybe these are a little bit smaller. So don't feel like they have to be all the same. And maybe once in a while you turn it back around and look at what you're working with. And that one was a very big one. So I'm going to offset it a little bit and I'm going to do a little bit bigger one, but I'm going to do that shape. So right now I know that I'm onto my true magenta color. So because I know that, I am going to purposely design this differently. And so I can either keep going. Thought. I'm going to show you guys how, if I were to keep going, all of my leaves on this side would continue to be the same color. I want to show you that, what if you want to get a light pink? The way to do that is to add water. This will be an experiment.
Do you want new water?
Ooh, Jessie, can I use your water? Okay. I think it would be fine, but I'm just gonna, voila, magic.
Voila.
A clean one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just dip in a little bit of water, and I don't want too much, so. That was very slight. Maybe I need a little bit more. And so it's just, I'm diluting it essentially a little bit more. Maybe I need a little bit more. There we go. To create a lighter pink. And I'm actually going to use my palette. Sorry, I just want them to be able to see that. Sorry. I'm switching you around. I'm going to have a little bit of water in here. So I'm going to have a little bit more. And so you can also think about it as getting a little bit more of the pink off. Add a little bit more. The problem is that I have my magenta in here. So it's just automatically pulling from here, even though also I should mention, and throughout this entire time, I have not been squeezing at all. So you don't actually need to squeeze, because what gravity doing is it's being your friend and it's already pushing the paint into your bristles. So don't feel like you have to squeeze at all. I didn't squeeze during this entire time. I'm gonna completely wash this off. Oh, that was a little bit too much. So I'm gonna squeeze and get a little bit of pink. Okay, so you can tell I just added a little bit of water. Frederick, get out of here.
It's like a whole family.
Oh my goodness. How are you guys doing? Yes! Wait, I love it. Good job. Keep going. Okay. Taylor, you're killing it. Can I show them?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Heck yes. So I was gonna say, what's really cool is what I loved is after you do this is you added cool little dots. I tend to add dots like that, but I actually like this look. Are those like little leaves or just little?
I don't really know.
It doesn't matter. I was just curious. I was like, I wonder what she was thinking.
Trademark it.
Or it's like little, yeah. I was
Just
gonna
like
say, like the
they
wish.
look more sketchy, I guess.
I love it. So you can use, if you look at your wreath and you feel like, it needs to be a little bit fuller, I want it to be fuller, just go in and like she did, and you add little dots to little spots. or, and if you want it to be the same, so this was my blue, I'm gonna add some blue to my tip, is you can add little ones like that. Or you can also, I wanna have some purple. So if I got here and I wanna have some purple, and then mix it up. You can also draw, and then maybe I'm gonna dip in the pink. You have yourself some little buds like that. So you can play around if you want to fill in the space. That kind of messed up with my vibe, but it's all good. Have fun with that. Are there any other questions?
No, there are not.
I feel like we're in a good spot. We're gonna keep going for you, but can I show them yours?
Oh yeah, sorry, it's kind of slow. I was having fun mixing the colors.
No, you don't. Do not be sorry at all. Yes. Wait. Can you see all of them at once, Keaton?
Or you can tuck the thing under yours since I only have half of that. There you go. We can just
What
pretend it's
blue
more
is
of
that?
So that's the deep blue.
That one's really pretty.
Whereas you, I don't think, maybe I didn't give you any. I'm sorry.
I don't know. No, you're good.
I didn't give you any. You just had 2 colors. So this is Tahoe blue and magenta is what Taylor used. Mine was a mix where I used Tahoe blue. Actually, so I used deep blue on here and then I used Tahoe blue here. Jesse just used deep blue and magenta, right? I love it. And I also, this is really fun and full. And you added little dots like that. Okay, if there are any other questions, let us know in the comments, not in YouTube because I don't know if I can see it. Join our Facebook group, Let's Make Art Lettering. And every Thursday, I'm either here or I'm usually in our Facebook group. And you can ask other personal questions that I can help and try and answer. So this is a community where we all come together and letter along every week together. Good job, guys.
Oh, this is addicting. I can't wait to do more. This is fun.
I'm
Yeah, it was fun.
so glad. I hope you all had fun. This is something that, like I said, join our Facebook group. We'd love to see what you painted. We have, if you're brand new to us and you're like, what are you guys doing? You're just painting along together. We do a new tutorial that's a new project, start to finish, every Friday for lettering that's released. For watercolors, if you also enjoy watercolors, we have a new tutorial every Wednesday. There's also a quarterly subscription box. This is the first one from our summer box. So you can go to our website and find and learn all about that. And thanks for joining, guys. Bye, everyone.